Once upon a time, there was a little girl who was pretty. In the summertime, she was obliged to go barefooted because she was fortuneless. And in wintertime, she had to wear large wooden shoes so that her little feet grew quite red. In the middle of the village lived an old shoemaker's wife. She sat down and made, as well as she could, a pair of little shoes out of some old pieces of red cloth. They were not pretty, but she meant well, for they were intended for the little girl whose name was Karen. Karen received the shoes and wore them for the first time on the day of her mother's funeral. They were certainly not suitable for mourning, but she had no others to wear. So she put her bare feet into them and walked behind the humble coffin. Just then, a large old carriage came by, and inside sitting an old lady. She looked at the little girl, and taking pity on her, so she said to the clergyman,
"Look here, if you will give me the little girl, I will take good care of her."
Karen believed that this was all on account of red shoes, but the old lady thought them hideous, so she threw them away. Karen herself was dressed very neatly and cleanly. She was taught to read and to sew, and people said that she was pretty. One day, Karen went to the market to buy some new shoes with the old lady. Karen wanted to buy red shoes with red ribbons. She saw some, and they looked very lovely. However, the old lady forced Karen to buy some black shoes instead. Karen thought only of red shoes with ribbons, so she saved money to buy red shoes. After 1 month passed, Karen bought the red shoes with her money. On the following Sunday, they went to church. She looked first at the red shoes, then at the black ones. She looked at the red ones again, and then put them on. The sun was shining, so Karen and the old lady went along the path through the corn where it was rather dusty. At the church door stood an old soldier leaning on a crutch. He had a wonderfully long beard, more red than white, and he bowed down to the ground and asked the old lady whether he might wipe her shoes. Then Karen put out her little foot too.
"Dear me, what pretty dancing shoes!"
sighed the soldier. The old lady gave the soldier some money and then went with Karen into the church. Everybody looked at Karen's feet. Even the ancient figures on the monuments had their eyes fixed on her red shoes. She thought only of the red shoes. She forgot to say the Lord's Prayer. Now everyone came out of church, and the old lady stepped into her carriage. But just as Karen was lifting up her foot to get into, the old soldier said,
"Dear me, what pretty dancing shoes!"
And Karen could not help it, but she was obliged to dance a few steps. Once she had begun, her legs continued to dance. It seemed as if the shoes had power over her. The coachman had to run after her and seize her. He lifted her into the carriage, but her feet continued to dance, so that she kicked the good old lady badly. At last, they took off her shoes, and her legs were at rest. At home, the shoes were put into the cupboard, but Karen could not help looking at them. Now the old lady fell sick, and it was said that as she would not rise from her bed again. She had to be nursed and waited upon, and this was no one's duty more than Karen's. But there was a grand ball in the town, and Karen was invited. She looked at the red shoes, saying to herself that there was no sin in doing that. She put the red shoes on, thinking there was no harm in that, and so she went to the ball to dance. But when she wanted to go to the right, the shoes danced to the left. And when she wanted to dance up the room, the shoes danced down the room, down the stairs, through the street, and out through the gates of the town. She danced and was made to dance, far out into the dark wood. Out of a sudden, something shone out among the trees. It was the old soldier with a red beard. He sat there nodding his head and said,
Dear me, what pretty dancing shoes!
She was frightened and wanted to throw the red shoes away, but they stuck fast. She tore off her stockings, but the shoes had grown fast to her feet. She danced and was awfully to go on dancing over field, in rain and sunshine, by night and by day. But by night it was most horrible. As she danced past the open church door, she saw an angel there in long white robes, with wings reaching from his shoulders down to the earth. His face was stern and grave, and in his hand he held a broad shining sword.
Dance you shall,
said he.
Dance in your red shoes till you pale and cold, till your skin shrivells up and you are a skeleton. Dance you shall, dance!
Please, cried Karen, but she did not hear what the angel answered, for the shoes carried her through the gate into the fields, along highways and byways. Karen was afraid to dance for so long. She said to herself, I wish I had wings to fly to the sky. Then something strange happened. Feathers grew from her arms and her body. She became a big white bird. Finally, her red shoes were taken off from her little feet. She flew high to the sky and landed the branch of the tree near her house. She missed the old lady so much and felt sorry for taking the red shoes. Then the sun shone brightly, and right before her stood an angel of God in white robes. It was the same one whom she had seen that night. He no longer carried the sharp sword, but beautiful red roses. Karen asked God for mercy. The little girl then returned to being a human from a white bird. Karen ran to the old lady and gave her a warm hug. Meanwhile, in the dark woods, the old soldier grabbed the red shoes on the ground and disappeared among the trees, and no one ever saw the old soldier in the town, not again.